Okay. Um, so, hi, Kim. It's good to be with you.
Forest. It's nice to be with
Um,
you.
yeah. I reached out to you to invite doing this recording. I've had an impulse building in me for quite some time to do a recording together and speak a little bit about the journey that we've been on together and yeah, the impact you've had on me and how my life's changed since I met you
Mm,
and yeah, just what's been possible after
mm,
meeting you a few years ago. And I'm very grateful to you for your openness and willingness to do this. You've been a and just an incredible friend and mentor and guide and healer to me and to so many others in my community. There's so many folks who I've shared you and your work with who've, we all just rave about you and the impact
mm.
you've had. And yeah, I've had this desire to share you and your work more fully with the world, and uh, have just been feeling this budding impulse that maybe if I shared a little bit more about my experience, that others might feel some resonance and feel inspired to come and hang out and um, experience the gifts and blessings of getting to be in your presence and do some of the work we've done. So,
Mm. Thank you so much, Forrest. And I'm interested in what actually did happen for you. What changes are better in your life?
yeah, well, I'm sure we could do. I'm going to do my best to just speak to a few of them because I'm sure I could talk for quite a while. But yeah, I met you first on Jeff Salzman's podcast, The Daily Evolver.
Mm,
I Yeah, I was really on a journey in my life. I I mean, this I could trace things back all the way to the Big Bang, I suppose, but um, you know, one of the most in my Forrest Wilson personal life, likely the most impactful moment in my life was my father passing away a few
mhm,
days after I turned 24. Um, and I really turned inward. I had this kind of existential crisis where I really became intimate with the awareness and in a lot of ways embodied experience that I was going to die also. And I was I had achieved everything I was supposed to achieve based on the context that I grew up in and was really in a crisis. I mean, it was like here I am 24 years old with arguably a whole lifetime ahead of me and I don't know what to do with myself. What comes after realizing the world's vision for you?
mhm,
um, and yeah, I started turning inward, and I got really lost. I went and looked for, I dove into to. I mean, I had always been a philosophy enthusiast and psychology enthusiast, and I dove deeper into all these resources. Um, but I couldn't find anybody to hold me in the exploration. I mean, I had some leadership coaches and some people who taught me about adult development and consciousness work, and I just felt so lost. I mean, it was like this is great. I have theories. Um, I can have big state expansive experiences, but I was crashing a lot. Crashing meaning um, I was in a leadership position in a startup and with a big vision for creating a company and a technology that would have a positive impact on the world. And then all of a sudden, I would find myself binge eating or having more drinks than I wanted to, or having these kind of self sabotaging behaviors. Uh, and then I was bouncing in and out of therapist's office, like um, not feeling met. And I heard your podcast, and I had this. I was in the car with somebody, and I looked at her and I said, "I feel like this guy could hold me." I just have this feeling. So I reached out to you. I wrote you an email, and I remember our first connection. I told you I had come up with this journaling game where I would draw a table on a piece of paper and draw these different parts of my personality. And in the first couple of minutes, I just felt so met because I said, Kim, I feel like I have all these different personalities. And you're like, well, what's wrong with having a bunch of different personalities? And it was like, really? That's okay? And it's just like instantly, just okay. Like I just feel fundamentally okay. And um, fundamentally okay, I would say, is one of the biggest, most profound takeaways I've had from working with you over the years. It's just as we've dove in deeper and deeper into all these different territories, I I just feel okay. Like I
Mhm.
just feel all right. Um,
Mhm.
and that right here, right now, everything's fine. Um, and just like I can let go
Mhm.
and release and have any kind of experience that I want to really, enjoy my life. And um, well, I could say a ton of things. I feel I'm clicking on all my passion drivers here. Um, I guess maybe one more thing I'll add to this before giving it back to you is that I've really for a long time been caught in this polarization in me of feeling less than or not enough. And then that creating a need to be more than enough to sort of prove that one wrong. And um, through working with you, I've gotten to the root of this in a lot of different places in my being and released this feeling of not being enough or being less than or
Mhm.
something being wrong with me, whatever the introjected uh, information and energy I took on was. And then in really getting to the root of that and releasing the introjects, the need to prove that wrong also dissolves. And so
Mhm.
there's this feeling coming online of just being fundamentally okay, being enough as I am, like a funny, like how could I possibly be any different than like who I am, right? It's just like here I am. What else could I possibly be? um, and just the freedom uh, in in this moment and in every moment to just, I mean, more and more and more fully experience the juiciness and the zest and the aliveness of this life. Yeah, it's like it's indescribable, and I can't even put it into words. It's just holy crap, awesome. Uh, how cool this this life thing is. I mean, just whoa. So I don't want to just talk this whole time. I'm gonna pause and just see go over to you for a minute. So that's some of the that's some a very little bit of what's happened for me since meeting you and the work we've done together.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear that. It just touches my heart as I listen to you talk. And you talked about basically, can we hold an unconditional loving space for people? I mean, that's how I describe it. It's like that's the container that we need to hold. But if our consciousness is small, we can't hold it because as soon as somebody steps outside of that container, we don't really get it. So they can feel that they're not being held. Our consciousness needs to expand enough to hold whatever consciousness that we're holding. So we can do that for ourselves, for other people, and things like that. So, you spoke to um, one of the really fundamental pillars of what means a lot to me in the work that I do, and I'm just so grateful for how impactful that was for you. I'm glad that I could hold a big enough space for you because Forrest, you do have a large consciousness, right?
Large, I don't know large in compared to what, but if you say so.
Yeah. We look at developmental perspectives and you've got a very late developmental perspective, and that tends to hold a much larger space of consciousness. So I'm just honored that I was able to hold that for you. Very grateful. And the second pillar is technique, skill level, applicable skill level that you talked about. And that is where I talk about interjections, projections, and split ego states, and knowing the correct tools to use for each one of those. And I think that you spoke to how that has actually freed you up then to be able to just be in this free space. Because once we, one my basic philosophy is that if we hold the space and we clear up the shadow, the part that needs to be healed, then the passion can run free. It's got all this space to run free in. And just watching your passion just percolating through your consciousness right now is just, it's just beautiful. And it just shows what a great job you did in healing.
Well, this is, I mean, we're touching on a few things that I'm most grateful for you for, because the capacity to, for example, in releasing an introject and then just staying in the emptiness, just staying in the space, staying as awareness, and not going in and putting things from an egoic place into the space where the introject was just released. I mean, this is unfathomably impactful and profound. And I see everywhere, it's like, I watch in healing communities, people will lead a release thing, and then right as that happens, they go, "Okay, now use this affirmation. I am enough." And it's like, "Oh no!" Right in the moment, the most precious one, like, like right there, where we can just be the space and see what organically wants to be like come online in the space. That's one of the most profound gifts that I've had from working with you, is just be the space and see what wants to flourish in the space naturally.
People are so scared of that empty space, and practitioners so often want to fill it so fast, either from their own fear of the emptiness or from feeling the discomfort of their clients and wanting to fill it for them. And then they fill it with templates, and we've all been taught to fill it with templates. So we think that's the thing to do. But now all we're doing is throwing another interject into the
Right.
space, creating these templates for people to live by, and they don't get to be their authentic self. We just got through getting to that precious moment. And this is the precious moment that you'd sit in that emptiness, as uncomfortable or as awesome as it is. And then the true consciousness of the individual arises and percolates up through that, and to hold that space is so crucial.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad you can feel that and see that, it's, yeah.
It's so pure. I mean,
Mhm.
it's so sacred and just
Mhm.
essential. I
Mhm.
mean, it isn't the essence of the consciousness.
Mhm. Yeah.
And you spoke to the later developmental level as well. And this is another piece that I'm most grateful to you for, because, um, and I feel tearful saying this, but when I met you, I felt like I was going crazy. I mean,
Mhm.
I really was scared to tell people about the experiences I was having, because I didn't want to end up institutionalized and
Mhm.
medicated. I created a lot of fear. I was really
Mhm.
scared. Um,
Mhm.
and I felt such a deep sense of trust being with you. I just immediately felt like I could really share what was happening for me, and that would be okay. That
Mhm.
there was the transmission that I had from you, the just feeling in my body was, no matter what I said, there wasn't anything wrong with me.
Mhm.
And that ended up, uh, I think in our first or second session, I revealed ex- the, the experience coming online for me in my relationship with reality and relationship with self. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, I've never spoken really about this in any kind of public way before, but I do remember, and I feel a little nervous and kind of childlike right now, but yeah, I can remember have the feeling of now in a much more home-based territory of the space itself actually being more of who I am than the person experiencing, uh, I'll say reality.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you. This is a really important piece for us that you brought up, and that is that so many people, when they're going through an existential shift, a developmental movement to a new world of consciousness, often feel like there's something wrong with them, something crazy, something wrong, and then they'll go to a psychotherapist, um, and and of course, it'll be diagnosed as anxiety or depression or something like that. Well, it is anxiety or depression, yes, but that misses the point. It misses the point of the developmental level and the purpose of the depression and anxiety. So, um, what the important piece to do here is to realize that the anxiety or depression is coming on from an existential thing. And if we make that wrong about the person, then they get yanked back down and kind of this calcified container around their consciousness because they can't, you need to stay in this developmental level. And I can't tell you how many people that come to me that are saying they've got shadow issues, and they do. Everybody has shadow issues. But a lot of the things that they call shadow issues are actually really good things that are happening. They're developmental awakenings. And they just feel so foreign that they feel like they're going crazy or that there's something wrong with them. So, one of the important things is to really understand how consciousness forms and grows, and being able to understand the difference between shadow and existential awakenings. And being able to hold that space for you has been an honor.
Yeah, yeah, just the distinctions you make between shadow and the other classes of material, I guess is what you could say. I know grief is one that's explicitly not shadow, right? When
Hmm.
we're grieving, developmental existential issues being
Hmm.
another one, prefrontal cortex, right? Biological issues,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and there's one more that's not coming to me this moment.
Yeah, so we have the biological issues, we have the grief issues, we have the existential issues, we have this um, uh, uh, geez, I forgot them too now. For years, my
Yeah.
brain just went a blank. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Oh well.
Is it a horizontal capacity skill based issue or
Horizontals, there's depth, but there's another one I'm trying to remember, and I just don't have it now. For some reason, both of us chose to blank it right now.
cool?
So
All right. Well, you've got courses if people need to find the fifth, they can take a course or write to
right.
you. um, yeah, and that's I mean, so underneath this, what's really important to me here is the um, codifying the skill that I experienced that you have in codifying what's what. I mean, introjected material is stuff that I have taken on from someone else and actually needs to be released.
Hmm.
Projections is my stuff that I'm putting onto someone else and I need to reclaim, right? We've got split ego states. We've got things like grief that aren't
Hmm.
shadow or vertical existential issues that are not shadow. And so being able to relate with the skill and the capacity um, and the wherewithal to cleanly be in relationship with and discern with what's what. Uh, I mean, it sounds so simple, but I don't, I want to say it's not, or it takes it's a very robust, skill set, in my opinion. I mean, the way that I see how you orient to convening a healing space and how you invite people to be with self and shadow and um, consciousness and reality is it is noticeably different than a lot of what I'm getting in the world right now. I don't know if I'm doing the best job articulating it, but I mean, I've got a lot of exposure to healing communities and consciousness communities and things like this. And um, yeah, I really want to put a plug in, like for anyone watching this, like there's a lot here that's very skillful and robust, even if it's unseen.
Mm. Thank you. I think I like what you're speaking to, and that is, as I went through my 60 some years of life and, my many years of working in various actions as a psychotherapist and other orientations, is that as I explore consciousness, if you get to the essence of what's going on, it's very simple, but distilling all the garbage down to the essence is the challenge, but it does distill down to some very simple things, and they're profound, and once you hear them, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And that's the simplicity of it. And the complexity is that we have so many templates and storylines about what it's supposed to be, and so many different people competing about, well, it's got to be somatic, or it's got to be cognitive restructuring, it's got to be behavioral, it's got to, well, no, it's all of those. All of those fit in. All of those fit into the meta model of consciousness, um, human development, existential grief, all of that. So if you just understand and distill out all the garbage and get it down to the essence, then it all starts making really good sense. And yet the complexity is there because all these are interactive with each other.
Mhm.
And so I think you're just speaking to that, the work of taking the time to distill the garbage out and get down to the essence of what really is going on with consciousness. And it seems so simple, and yet you're speaking about it being profound and complex too. And there's the simplicity on the other side of the complexity, and the complexity that arises from the simplicity. So thank you. You're really
Yeah.
articulating it beautifully.
Well, and honestly, Kim, it's, I mean, where my passion really comes online is the way I experience your orientation, or maybe I can own this a little bit more. The way that being with you has impacted my orientation with reality and with other forms of consciousness is understanding very intimately, based on key drivers and expressions. And I mean, like, really being able to, I'm using my hands to, like, really to feel the shape
Mhm.
of someone's consciousness, and where is their space, where are their constrictions, where is their withholding, where is there a big uh leaking is a charged word, but like, where is there
Mhm.
pouring out, right? Like, and to be able to feel that coming from this place of unconditional love and not needing something to be different,
Mhm.
and seeing where is the healing already wanting to happen, where is the flow wanting to take place, and just being a part of that.
Yeah, beautiful. Exactly. Yeah, because the healing is always there and it's always wanting to happen. And it's often these constrictions or these calcifications in consciousness that keep it from being able to move. But all we have to do is release those a little bit, see where the holes are for it to begin its healing flow. And then it'll wash away those calcifications, just like a river washes away a riverbank. It's just the natural flow of consciousness flowing to the ocean, oceanic consciousness. And so this is a natural flow of things. And I just love that you're picking up on these details so beautifully. I mean, um, even including, my, talking about, what we're doing is when we work with people, we bring ourselves into the shape of consciousness of the people that we're working with, so that we embody and feel that shape of consciousness while holding that shape of consciousness within a larger consciousness that holds it in a witness, unconditional loving witness space that is free of ego, because ego always wants to throw a template in. ego always wants to do the healing. Ego wants to do this, and that in itself distorts the actual natural evolutionary flow of healing and natural evolutionary flow of consciousness. So we hold the shape and we hold the freeness from that shape simultaneously, and that allows for us to experience where the percolation is, or where the spaces are where the healing wants to move through and wash away the old calcified riverbanks so that it can become more oceanic consciousness.
Mm.
And then the passion runs free through that open field without the calcifications.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I get this, it's like, the feeling of the mind being parked for a moment and just having, um, yeah, just being with things as they are and seeing how what's wanting to happen. I mean, that's the beauty of, um, and maybe this will be the last thing I share for now, but I think that's the beauty too, in seeing even, what one of the things I've walked away from our work together is feeling like even the things that I used to judge the most in me or that were most dysfunctional were like the best I had at the time. They were the most they were there was a positive intent in there,
Mm-hmm.
and once I understood that whatever behavior, for example, or whatever thought pattern or feeling was a means to an end, getting underneath that and seeing what is actually wanting to happen here. And oh, I have a whole array of options here that
Mm-hmm.
are available to realize this end. Um, Seeing the beauty in what's organically arising, and then how can we, um, like, how can we work with things to evolve the way they want to, even in our own consciousness, these forms of consciousness, and really stepping farther and farther and farther back into this witness perspective
Mm-hmm.
where we allow all the different ego constructs and forms of awareness to unfold in the way that they want to, um, and potentially and ultimately dissolve back into awareness.
Mm-hmm.
um, well, anyway, that's what I've learned being around you, so
Great. Yeah. Oh, it's been beautiful hearing your experiences, and I'm so touched by your oh, just your depth of heart and presence and ability to even conceptualize what was happening for you while it was happening for you. I mean, a lot of people go through it and they feel better, and but it's kind of special having someone who's able to kind of conceptualize what's happening to them while it's happening to them too.
I'm having a big Hall of Mirrors moment right now, but conceptualizing the conceptualizer, conceptualizing
Yep.
the sheesh. So, um, cool. Well, anyway, yeah, I guess the last thing I'll say before I end the recording is just, yeah, I warmly and wholeheartedly invite anybody who sees this to come experience you more fully. I know you've got your website, kimbarta.org. Um, and yeah, if anyone feels like contacting me, I'm happy to point you in Kim's way. So, um,
Okay.
yeah, thanks, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Forrest.